Welcome. I'm Peter Rowe, Managing Director of PolyGenomX, and in the next few minutes I'd like to outline the threat to government, environment and community which coal seam gas mining is creating, and I'd like to offer a viable solution to that threat, a solution which promises to profit government, the miners and our community alike. PolyGenomX is a Queensland-based Australian public company developing intelligent bioengineered solutions to a wide range of both man-made and natural environmental challenges using world's first plant biotechnology. What you're about to see is not only a solution to a local problem, but is also exportable intellectual property with a global market. Coal seam gas promises our community prosperity, but it threatens our environment. Millions of litres of coal seam gas water must be removed to release the coal seam gas beneath it, and that water contains millions of tonnes of dissolved salt. Miners use desalination plants to separate the salt and water, consuming vast amounts of power in the process and creating brine. The brine is equal to 5 Sydney harbours in volume, and it is to be stored somewhere in Queensland, because coal seam gas engineers have no cost-effective solution to brine. We have a bioengineered solution that generates rather than consumes energy, and which completely dismantles and disposes of the salt. This leaves no brine and saves the miners hundreds of millions of dollars in both capital and operating expenditure, and their higher profits invite higher state revenues. Here we ask government to mandate a win-win-win bioengineered solution. Coal seam gas is a potentially cost-effective energy source. It has the potential to create local economic stimulus and the potential of abundant government royalties, but it also harbours potential ecological disaster. How? Salt. The 4 largest coal seam gas miners will, at full production, output a combined 800 megalitres of water every day. More than $1 billion worth of reverse osmosis desal equipment will burn more than $100,000 in energy every day to clean 2/3 of the water and to concentrate all of the salt in the remaining 1/3. That's 3,600 tonnes of salt dissolved as 270 megalitres, or 100 Olympic swimming pools of brine every day, and stored, hoping for a future solution. There are 4 industry-proposed brine solutions. Summarising their management strategy documents, those are: 1. Investigate industrial uses. None yet identified, they say. 2. Inject into suitable aquifers. None yet found, they say. Ocean outfall. That's pump the water to the coast from the middle of Queensland. Now, apart from the vast distance and cost involved, the calcium salt content makes this illegal. 4. Landfill. On this last point, let me quote: "An assessment of waste disposal facilities indicates licensed facilities exist in Queensland. It is assumed that other commercial operators will be developed to capitalise on this waste stream, and we will develop storage until permanent disposable solutions are operational." That's it. There are no brine solutions in place. Those key brine numbers again, just quickly. More than $2 billion in capital invested into reverse osmosis, desal. More than $1 billion in energy expended to concentrate the brine. Each 6 years of mining produces 1 Sydney harbour full of brine. And the mines have a projected life of 30 years or more, so that's 5 Sydney harbours of brine to be stored out back, waiting for a solution. Let's now take a look at the alternative, the bioengineered alternative. The coal seam gas water is used to feed wetlands. Those wetlands are densely planted with a deeply salt-tolerant giant reed, especially developed for this purpose. The giant reed breaks down all of the salts and uses them for its extraordinary growth, leaving zero waste and zero residue. The reeds can be continually harvested as biomass to generate zero carbon, clean energy worth $60 million a year or $1.8 billion over the mine life. At any time, reed wetlands can be transitioned to other high-value species such as trees for carbon credits, timber for construction, biofuel feedstocks and more, leaving the landowner, once the gas has run out, with a positive legacy rather than just a hole in the ground. Giant reed, or Arundinodonax, was first imported into Australia with the first fleet for use as a decorative windbreak. Experience and research by South Australian scientists has confirmed that it's non-invasive in non-river environments. It's naturally easily contained, it is drought tolerant and salt tolerant. It's also been identified as the ideal feedstock for cellulosic digestion, by which plant matter is converted directly to liquid biofuels. It can also be gasified to produce syngas as a carbon neutral energy source, or it can be burned to produce 15% more heat than brown coal to generate electricity. And it can be easily killed off to transition wetlands to higher value crops as a second stage in the bioengineered treatment of coal seam gas water. PolyGenomX giant reeds are a new variety, enhanced through the application of unique Australian biotechnology, so that it is 100% more salt tolerant than the original. It also uses 33% more atmospheric carbon dioxide, thus driving 33% faster growth and 40 times, that's 40 times greater salt breakdown. Thus, using the PolyGenomX reed, the wetland areas required to process the vast volumes of coal seam gas water and its salt is reduced by more than 90%. And the faster growth rate indicates an energy generation potential worth more than $2 billion, all with zero salt waste. The first chart here illustrates the relative salt processing capability of the standard giant reed on the right and the two stages of development of the PolyGenomX giant reed on the left. Measured here are the rates at which calcium, sodium and magnesium are being taken up by the reeds after it has broken down their salts within the coal seam gas water. The increases in sodium, the purple bar, and calcium, the buff bar, are extremely positive results, as these two elements make up the vast majority of coal seam gas water salts. Here, the three purple bars represent the relative uptake or utilisation within the reed of sodium, with the standard reed on the right and the two varieties of PolyGenomX reed on the left, using far more of this element. The chlorine in sodium chloride, or table salt, by the way, is mostly expired to atmosphere as a gas, with a small portion being used by the plant for its metabolic processes. Photosynthesis is the ultimate regulator of growth in most plants, and giant reed is no exception. The red bars in this chart illustrate the relative rates at which standard and PGX reeds break down CO2 during photosynthesis. You'll note that the more efficient PGX reeds on the left use approximately 33% more CO2 for the same time, water input and nutrients as their standard relatives. This drives their extraordinary growth. These plants are deeply climate positive, using more atmospheric carbon than standard reed. The purple bars indicate the relative rates at which each variety transpires water, thus recharging the natural water cycle in the region in which they are grown. The three charts together are a small summary of more than 3,000 readings proving the indisputable efficiency of PolyGenomX giant reed in the treatment of coal seam gas water. To summarise, from the perspective of those mechanical engineers responsible for gas extraction, water is an overburden on the ore or gas body. Water is a compliance issue. It has to be handled according to the law. Water's an expense. You can't just pump it out onto the ground. Water's a public relations risk. Environmental damage is not good publicity. And water is a cost of production, to be handled as cheaply as possible. And more water means less profit. But from the bioengineer's perspective, water is a valuable and scarce asset. And with the right plants, in the right environment, with the right management and the right business model, that water may be applied in such a way as to be worth more than the gas itself. And unlike gas, and thanks to the natural water cycle, water is a renewable resource. So what is required of government? Leadership, certainly. Stewardship of the common wealth. Facilitation of business as the road to sustainable wealth creation, but certainly not at any cost. Government should require operators to address brine with the same rigour and diligence that they apply to gas extraction. Government should mandate the responsible assessment of innovative, profitable bioengineered solutions over wasteful, industry standard operating procedure alternatives. Government should require responsible, optimal water use. In a dry, brown land, it is an invaluable asset and will become more so if we move to become the food bowl of Asia. Government must seek to leave a positive legacy for the people, not a liability for future generations. And government must show leadership for the good of all, even the miners. Thank you for this opportunity to share a vision of the future as it could be, and hopefully as it will be.